It's the 22nd day of October 2017, just 3 days to that repeat presidential poll that was ordered by the Supreme Court in its verdict following that petition by Raila Odinga. And a lot has happened from the 1st of September up until this point. In fact, a lot has been said on both sides of the political divide, including the other presidential contenders who are set to make a comeback onto the ballot in just 3 days. So today we're discussing the environment in which the country finds itself, the mood in the country. Do we have a political or a legal crisis, or both, or no crisis at all? And will this election solve all our problems in just 3 days? We'll be discussing this on the show tonight. We'll have Patrick Gadara, we'll also have Felix Owor, and Kibe Mungai will be joining us on the panel tonight. But we have that and the day's top stories, including details of that collapse of the building in Nakuru County. We have all those and much more tonight on the show. Let's take a look at the top stories tonight. Unknown number of people feared trapped as a 4-story building collapses in Nakuru town.
Kuna mipango mingi ambayo tulikuwa tumepanga. Alikuwa ameahidi hata watoto mambo mingi.
He was a young energetic man who was looking forward to achieving more in the flying industry.
Recovery of the bodies of the victims in the Nakuru helicopter crash is postponed for a second time.
Mimi rais naomba, nataka tusimame tuombe pamoja.
President Kenyatta suspends political campaigns to lead Kenyans in praying on National Prayer Day.
Hakuna uchaguzi. Tuwezi kukubali, sio? Chiloba atolewe kabisa aende nyumbani.
And NASA maintains IEBC is incompetent to manage Thursday's election and sustains pressure to cancel the poll. Good evening and thank you for joining us. This is indeed Checkpoint and not Weekend Prime. As you saw there a short while ago, I'm Yvonne Okwara Matole and our sign language interpreter tonight is Maresha Owiti. I want to start with the recent happenings in the county of Nakuru, where several people are feared trapped in the rubble after a building collapsed in Nakuru town. We're receiving reports tonight that 5 people have been rescued from the structure and taken to hospital with minor injuries. Some of the victims are said to have been removing goods from the building after a notice to vacate was issued this morning by officials of the National Construction Authority.
Nisikia watu wakisema kwanza kwamba ati kuna vioo, hii nyumba inabomoka vioo kutoka juu, inavunjika zenyewe kutoka juu. Mimi kufika hapo hata kabla sijafika tu nikutana na vumbi na kishindo.
Asubuhi tukikuja kufungua makazi tuliona engineer. Later in the day building ikachorwa X.
Actually this morning when I parked my car next to the building, the matatu people who normally park next to the building told me to remove my car because they have all along known that this building was coming to collapse. And I was wondering what is the problem with the county government if they knew this was happening. If matatu people knew this house was coming down, why was the county government not working about, either evicting people from the building?
Wakati huu bado hatujathibitisha kama kuna watu wako ndani. Tunajua iko watu wawili wametolewa wakiwa hai, wamepelekwa hospitali, na hatujajua kama kuna mwingine. Hatujafanya proper counting kwa sababu wale walikuwa ndani hawajatuambia walikuwa watu wangapi ndani.
Sehemu moja ya nyumba imeanguka na nyingine imeonyeshana kwamba iko na crack kubwa sana ambayo inaenda mpaka chini. Na kwa hivyo ombi letu haswa kwa wafanyabiashara hapa ni kwamba waondoke, tuachie wataalam wa mambo kama haya wakiwemo Navy na wakiwemo KDF ambao wamesomea mambo ya rescue, pia hawa wa NYS na Red Cross waweze kufanya hiyo operation. Lakini kufikia sasa tumeweza kupata ripoti kwamba hakuna yule ambaye ako trapped pale ndani.
Let's now bring in our Nakuru correspondent, Benedetta Mwara, who's been following these developments. Benedetta, thanks for speaking with us. Good evening. What more can you tell us about the recovery process that is taking place, or the search and rescue that's taking place?
Good evening, Yvonne. We are in Nakuru currently, and yes, a building collapsed earlier today in the evening at around 4 p.m. And after the collapse, we actually saw a number of rescuers rush to the area. You remember there is the aircraft that crashed at Lake Nakuru, and people had to rush from Lake Nakuru to come to the building, and it was actually a hectic moment for the rescuers. But according to the Red Cross report today, 3 people have been confirmed injured from the incident, and 2 of them are ladies who are in the building, and 1 lady is said to have been running from the collapsing building and was hit by a running vehicle, and there are no confirmation yet as to whether anyone of them has lost their lives, but we're still following up on the ongoing issue. And again, Yvonne, the mission has been called off until tomorrow. It is going to resume tomorrow. They're saying, the authorities are saying that they're going to deploy NYS and KDF to come and assist the building occupants to remove their valuables from the building. According to the National Construction Authority, they had assessed the building today in the morning and issued the occupants with an immediate notice of evacuation, saying that the building was going to collapse anytime. Actually, some of the people who are said to have been injured are some of the ladies who are trying to remove some things, their valuables, from the building. Back to you, Yvonne.
Thank you. Just one quick one, Benedetta. Do we know, one, the owner of the building, and what sort of building? Was it a residential or a commercial property?
The building was a commercial building. Actually, it has housed a church and a college, and it is known as New Muko building, that is located along Gishwa's busy road, and the building has been there, Yvonne, for the past over 10 years, so it was not under construction, and the owner is known, yes, but after the evacuation of the valuables tomorrow, the authorities are saying they are going to know the next thing to do with the building. So the fate of the building is actually going to be known tomorrow. But to confirm, the National Construction Authority had issued the occupants with a notice to evacuate the building as soon as they could, with another notice telling them not to try and remove any valuables from the building because they felt the building was going to collapse anytime from today morning when they issued the warrant of evacuation.
All right, thanks very much.
Back to you, Yvonne.
Thank you, Benedetta Mwara from Nakuru County. That search and rescue operation has been called off for the night and will resume tomorrow evening. Thank you very much for that report. We want to stay within Nakuru now. The recovery of the remains of the 5 people who perished in the helicopter crash at Lake Nakuru National Park will continue tomorrow. While parts of the chopper were recovered today, none of the bodies has yet to be found. Victor Gale reports.
Joint operations of the Kenya Navy, private divers from Lake Naivasha, Kenya Police Service and the Kenya Wildlife Service commenced early morning with the search parties changing course from where they staked out yesterday. Parts of the plane were recovered, giving leads to the probable spot of the crash. For family members of the victim, it is dawning on them that they may yet spend another night without the recovery of the remains of their loved ones. William Ngugi arrived in Nakuru from Kiambu after receiving the news that his son, Sami Gitau, may be among the victims.
We had talked with him. It was on Friday. From Friday, Then yesterday ndio nikasikia kulikuwa na ajali. Then ukani hivyo tu. But kunaonekana kuko na ulegevu upande wa serikali, kuko na ulegevu kidogo.
Kuna mipango mingi ambayo tulikuwa tumepanga. Alikuwa ameahidi hata watoto mambo mingi ambao hata wengine wale wako nyumbani wanatupigia juu hatujawaambia, na tuambia mko na Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam anasema aje.
Through the Kenya Red Cross Society, family members are receiving free counseling services.
When they came yesterday, they were not even willing to talk. What they wanted is to see their people removed out of the water. But through the skills that we use in counseling, we were able to talk with a few, and they were able to stabilize.
George Kariuki is a pilot at Flex Air Charters. He eulogizes the late pilot, Apollo Maloa, his former colleague in the military.
And we converted with him in South Africa from 2009 to 2010. We flew with him in the Puma for quite some time before he left the military for the civil flying. I would say that he was a young, energetic man who was looking forward to achieving more in the flying industry.
The recovery mission will enter its third day on Monday. There is great concern at the pace of the recovery mission, with further queries as to why the private search party, comprising of divers from Naivasha, returned to shore soon after setting into the lake. Victor Ogali, KTN News, Nakuru County.
President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto suspended their political campaigns to attend the National Prayer Day at Afraha Stadium in Nakuru. Calls for peace and tolerance dominated the event.
The country is singing, the country is praying, and the country is dancing to the tune of peace. 3 days to the presidential repeat poll set for Thursday this week, President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto led the country in seeking divine intervention, even as the nation seeks to navigate through this moment, which, according to Deputy President William Ruto, is Kenya's uncharted political waters.
Nchi ambaye haina amani sio nchi ambaye yaweza kuendelea. Tumshukuru Mungu kwa ile amani ametupatia kwa miaka mingi. Na sisi wa Kenya tumenusa tu kidogo mwaka wa 2007 2008 taabu ambaye yaweza kukumba nchi kwa sababu ya siasa.
Kenya again is in uncharted waters. It has never happened in the continent of Africa that a presidential election is annulled. But it has happened in our country.
But most notable was the rare demeanor exhibited by politicians who, under the leadership of the president and his deputy, cut the image of humility, even as they avoided completely the combative nature of politics we are used to, and instead focused on seeking and speaking to God.
Because it is uncharted waters, we are here to ask God, yet again, to take us through this phase. I know there is anxiety in the country. I know there are those who don't know what will happen. But we have come to Nakuru so that the country can know that all is well.
Drawing comparisons between other failed states across Africa and the world, the president reminded Kenyans of the need to remain peaceful, even as they differ politically.
Letu la Somalia jirani hapa, tumeona sasa karibu miaka 25 wakimbizi zaidi ya 1.5 milioni ambao wanaishi Kenya na nchi zingine kwa sababu ya ukosefu wa usalama. Wenzangu, tusirudi huko tena.
And with NASA Principal Raila Odinga's decision to withdraw from the race, the president advised against interfering with other people's rights.
Wale watapiga kura na wale ambao hawatapiga kura, mkumbuke ya kwamba siku ya tarehe 26 ikiisha, jirani wako ataendelea kuwa jirani yako, kama alipiga kura, kama hakupiga kura.
Thursday will be a new great chapter for our country. That is going to be a new day for Kenya.
This is the third time the Jubilee administration has gone to Nakuru for prayers ahead of elections. In 2013, just before March 4th general elections, the then Jubilee coalition converged at Afra Stadium for a prayer rally. The same happened ahead of August 8th polls and ahead of the October 26th repeat polls. Once again, the president and his deputy led the nation back to Nakuru for another prayer rally. Shadrach Miti, KTN News.
NASA leaders, meanwhile, took the coalition's No Elections campaign to Trans Nzoia, where they piled pressure on the IEBC chair, Wafula Chebukati, to postpone Thursday's repeat presidential poll. NASA leader Raila Odinga says the commission, through its own admission, cannot deliver a free, fair and credible process.
After no election campaigns in Kisumu on Friday, the NASA team headed to Trans Nzoia, addressing rallies in Kitale Town, Kiminini, Kipsongo and Matisi Center. The coalition, which has been campaigning against the October 26th repeat presidential poll, insists there will be no election on Thursday. NASA has dismissed the move by IEBC CEO Ezra Chiloba to proceed on leave just days to the election. The removal from office of Chiloba and other IEBC officials is among NASA's demands to the IEBC.
Tayari amefanya kazi yake yote. Amewaji watu yake tu. Anajifanya tatizo yeye amejiondoa. Nani mjinga ni nani? Nasikia sisi ni mjinga sana. Hatuwezi kukubali, sio? Chiloba atolewe kabisa aende nyumbani. Na ashtakiwe kwa mahakama.
Last week, IEBC chairman Wafula Chebukati said he cannot guarantee a free and fair election. He issued the statement just today after IEBC Commissioner Roslyn Akombe resigned, saying the commission was under siege and cannot conduct a credible election.
Tumwambia bwana Chebukati, kuwa mwanaume, simama imara, pana kosa sauti, ongea kama mtu ambaye ametoka Ingo. Mwambie wa Kenya, mimi naona hii maneno ni mbaya, siwezi kutoa uchaguzi wa haki na ukweli tarehe 26.
Bwana Chebukati, chukua nafasi yako, chukua ushujaa wako na utangaze ya kwamba from where you sit and from what you see and from what you understand and from what you know, there cannot be a credible election in Kenya.
Jubilee has accused NASA of trying to create a constitutional crisis to pave the way for the formation of a coalition government.
Mnafikiri mimi naweza kwenda kama mkati kwa Uhuru? Uhuru umechukua mkati yangu, alafu nasema niende nimwombe yeye. Shame on him. Shame on him. Shame on him. Sisi kama wananasa tutaki nusu mkati. Tunataka la boflo yetu mzima.
NASA has been campaigning for no reforms, no election, but has changed its campaign to no election on the 26th of October. Raila is expected to make a statement on the way forward on Wednesday, just as to the repeat poll. Rita Tinina, KTN News.
The last batch of ballot papers for the repeat of the fresh presidential election will arrive in Nairobi just hours to the election scheduled for Thursday. The first batch of 43 ballots destined for the 10 counties furthest from Nairobi, plus one for the diaspora, landed at the JKIA yesterday, with the second batch expected tomorrow evening. Chris Thyro tells us more on this and also on the changes made by IEBC to guarantee the credibility of the repeat poll.
The cargo plane carrying the first batch of presidential ballot papers from Dubai touched down at the JKIA Saturday evening with only 3 days to the repeat presidential election. At hand to receive the ballot papers was the IEBC Deputy Chair, Consolata Nkatha. The 43 pallets destined for 10 counties farthest from Nairobi will be distributed immediately.
These ones will go straight to a warehouse and they'll be sorted out. The ones we've received today are from the far places so that they can be airlifted as soon as possible. So as they come, we are going to start distributing them. We've distributed other materials. That's what we've been doing this week. So this is basically the final bit of our distribution.
The second batch of ballot papers for the other 22 counties will arrive on Monday evening, while the last batch of 165 pallets for the remaining 15 counties will arrive on Tuesday evening. This time round, the extra ballot papers will be less compared with the last general election on the 8th of August.
Sales that we had because of that was about 6%. This time, because of reducing to 30 ballot papers per book, we have about 3% extra that we've printed. But we really tried to make sure that we have much less than we had last time by doing 30 booklets of 30 ballot papers.
The color of the ballot papers has also been changed, even as the electoral body introduces other improved security features, including watermarks, embossing, and anti-copy features. Whereas the August 8th presidential poll forms were white, the October 26th forms will be grey.
Once the polling station, the PO finishes counting the number of votes, what he's going to do is take a photograph of that image, which is going to be signed by the agents for all the parties. All the parties are going to sign, and also to be signed by our PO. After that, take a photograph and then send it using KIMS. Once it's sent, it's going to go to our portal, and then it's going to go both to the National Tallying Center and to the Constituency Tallying Center.
Given that the opposition has already vowed that there will be no election come Thursday, and the fact that some IEBC officials have received threats, especially those who hail from counties perceived to be opposition strongholds, Commissioner Nkatha was optimistic that election materials will be delivered to all the 40,883 polling stations.
We are going to airlift some of these materials because some roads are impassable at the moment. We've seen that. Also, in terms of security, I think we are working with the security organs in the country. So we are assured of security because what we are saying is that our staff need to be protected. We've seen there are issues of security in some areas. And also we are saying that people need security to be able to turn up on the 26th and go to vote.
The new ballot papers have also been customized, including the name of the polling station printed on the ballot. This means the officials will not have to write the name of the polling station, constituency, or county because it is already provided for. Chris Dairo, KTN News.
President Uhuru Kenyatta's Jubilee Party has ruled out any talks with the electoral body IEBC ahead of the Thursday repeat presidential poll. The Commission Chairman Wafula Chebukati had invited Kenyatta for the meeting after holding a similar session with opposition leader Raila Odinga on Thursday last week. Tonight, Murimi Mwangi looks at key IEBC timelines to the Thursday poll and explains key logistical hiccups likely to face IEBC in the next 3 days.
As talks collapsed earlier this month between electoral body IEBC, President Uhuru Kenyatta's representatives and those of opposition leader Raila Odinga, the Commission Chairman Wafula Chebukati made a plea.
This is my appeal that next meeting we call, we shall insist that the principals themselves, the candidates, attend that meeting because we don't want situations where the generals bring sideshows to derail this process which must happen on 26th of October.
And on Monday, attention turns to President Kenyatta, whose Jubilee Party has already dismissed Chebukati's invitation of Kenyatta for talks after holding a similar meeting with Odinga on Thursday.
He cannot call the teams and ask them, okay guys, when do we conduct this election? What rules should we put in place? In other words, there's nothing to dialogue about.
If proper consultations are done,
and proper reforms are carried out and those fears that we raised are addressed, which made us pull out of this race, then we will consider.
But while the ballot papers that began arriving on Saturday also bear Odinga's name despite his announcement of withdrawal from the repeat poll, Justice Chacha Mwita of the High Court is on Tuesday expected to rule in a petition by Pokot South MP David Kosing, seeking to bar Odinga from quitting the Thursday poll. The ruling coming a day before Odinga's last statement to his supporters on the boycott of the Thursday poll. Anti-IEBC demonstrations in NASA strongholds have in the past turned chaotic, and Chebukati is expected to state any precautionary measure the commission could take to safeguard its officials and electoral material in potential hotspots. Section 64 of the Election General Regulations 2017 allows IEBC to postpone elections in a constituency, county or ward for such a period of time it may consider necessary of a likely breach of peace, natural disaster or any emergency. The partial postponement notwithstanding, Regulation 64 subsection 3 allows the Commission to declare the results if satisfied. It will not be affected by votes yet to be received.
If any one or more constituencies have no returns on elections, then by law, that election will be invalidated.
What worries me is not even having an election on 26, is what position is Kenya going to be in from 26 to 2022.
Every ballot paper. The Supreme Court's 60 days window for the repeat presidential election closes on the 31st of October. Muremi Mwangi, News, Nairobi.
You're watching CheckPoint tonight. Thanks for staying with us. We're taking a quick break. Our discussion on the other side of the break when we return. Remember, we've got Patrick Gadhara, Kibe Mungai, and Felix Sowor. That's up next.